This video is sponsored by PTCGLstore.com, a great place for you to buy Pokemon TCG code cards. Hey guys, in today's video, we'll be showcasing Roaring Moon from the Temporal Forces expansion set. Not sure why, but everyone seems to be overlooking the first place winner of the 2024 World's TCG Juniors Division, Sakuya Ota. Congratulations to this young man for masterfully piloting his ancient box build. Interestingly enough though, I have not actually featured this Roaring Moon in my channel yet, and what better way than to showcase this awesome build. Roaring Moon is one of the strongest single price attackers in the game right now, and I think this is seriously being slept on. Basically, what makes this Pokemon awesome is its first attack, Vengeance Fletching. For 2 dark energies, this attack deals 70 base damage, plus 10 more damage for each ancient card in your discard pile. And in this deck, there are a total of 26 ancient cards. And at full strength, Roaring Moon can deal as much as 320 total damage, even without any other attack buffs. But of course, there is one copy of Defiance Band in this build as well. As long as you have more prizes left than your opponent, this can increase your attack by 30 more damage. So you do have that potential to one-hit knock out any Pokemon in the game. To use this build effectively, of course, we have to discard our ancient cards, and we have a few ways to do that. The first one is with the help of Explorer's Guidance. You look at the top 6 cards of your deck, put 2 of them in your hand, and you discard the rest of those cards. Next is Earthen Vessel. To use it, you discard 1 card from your hand, and you can also search for up to 2 basic energy cards from your deck. A copy of Ultra Ball allows you to discard 2 cards from your hand to use it, then you can search your deck for a Pokemon. Next is a copy of Superior Energy Retrieval. You discard 2 cards from your hand to use it, then you can recover up to 4 basic energy cards from your discard pile back to your hand. Pokestop Stadium also lets you discard the top 3 cards of your deck. You put the item cards in your hand and the rest stays in the discard pile. And finally, we'll be using the secret box for our Ace Spec card. You have to discard 3 cards from your hand to use it. Then you can search your deck for 4 other cards, 1 item card, 1 tool card, 1 supporter card, and 1 stadium. Of course, the easiest way to energize Roaring Moon is with the help of Professor Sada's Vitality. You choose 2 of your ancient Pokemon, then you can accelerate 1 energy from your discard pile to each of them, after which you draw 3 cards. But just keep in mind that you can only use this if you have a basic energy card in your discard pile to accelerate to your ancient Pokemon. However, you can also use Dark Patch to accelerate a basic dark energy from your discard pile to one of your bench dark Pokemon. Although Roaring Moon has a low HP, you can make it more difficult for your opponent to knock it out. You can accomplish this especially if you attach the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule to our Roaring Moon. It gives your ancient Pokemon 60 more HP and becomes immune to special conditions. This build has definitely been upgraded with the Shrouded Fable set. We can now use Phasandipity EX with a Flip the Script ability. If one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn, you can draw 3 cards. Anything that helps you draw extra cards makes this invaluable to this build. And finally, we also have Night Stretcher. This helps to recover one of either a basic energy or a Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand. Additionally, just be aware that you also have other attackers in this build to help you on certain matchups. Fluttermane, for example, has the Midnight Fluttering ability. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent's active Pokemon has no abilities. This can be very disruptive against certain matchups. And its attack is Hex Hurl. For 3 colorless energies, it deals 90 damage, and you can also spread 2 damage counters to your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like. And lastly, we also have this Great Tusk, and we're using it mostly for its Land Collapse attack. For 2 colorless energies, this simply discards the top card of your opponent's deck. However, if you played an ancient support card such as Professor Sada's Vitality or Explorer's Guidance from your hand during this turn, you can discard 4 cards from the top of your opponent's deck instead. This might just give you an opportunity for a different win condition by decking out your opponent late game. Overall, this build is extremely consistent. For the most part, you have potential to easily knock out basic EX or V Pokemon and even be able to 2-hit knock out higher HP Pokemon. Once you get used to knowing how to effectively discard your ancient cards and conserve cards late game, this build is a force to be reckoned with. Anyways, that's pretty much it. You can find the complete deck list in the description below, and now please enjoy the following gameplay videos showcasing Roaring Moon. Before we get into the video, I have a small request. If you're liking the content I create, please leave a like to this video, and please support this channel by subscribing if you haven't already. This is a small click for you, but for me, it means a lot. Thank you so much for all of your support. Alright, on to our first match. We're going to start this one with a Fluttermane in the active spot. We won the coin toss and I've decided to go second. I like going second with this build because we do have that potential to attack on our first turn going second, even take a key knockout. And my opponent's also starting with a Fluttermane in the active spot. Alright, cool. Squawkabilly EX. Gonna Squawk and Seize. They also have a bunch of Professor Sada's Vitality. Roaring Moon comes out. Alright, this is a mirror match, guys. May the best player win. They are using Prime Catcher. They discarded that, so that's a big deal. So it's a slight variation of our deck list here. We are, of course, using the World Championship winner in the Juniors division. Congratulations again to Sakuya Ota. He did really well. I watched the match between the finalists, and I tell you, these little guys, they know what they're doing, man. They're very professional. So let's see how well we can pilot his build here. So with Explorer's Guidance, I think Nest Ball are priority. We're gonna use Pokestop. Alright, cool. We got an Earthen Vessel. Discarded Professor Sada in a Flutter Mane there. And we have to set up our attacker. Roaring Moon comes out, and I think Radiant Greninja is helpful because we can get energies with Earthen Vessel. We can use concealed cards to keep drawing extra cards. So with Earthen Vessel, we can discard one card, get 2 of these energies. We can use concealed cards, discard 1 energy card, draw 2. And we can still use Earthen Vessel to discard another Ancient card. But for now, I'm just going to use Ancient Booster Energy Capsule to Flutter Mane. Maybe my opponent cannot build up their Ancient Pokemon in the discard pile and not take a knockout against our Flutter Mane. So we'll see how it goes. It's very unlikely, but I'm taking my chances. So at least we have 1 energy to our Roaring Moon. We can also attack next turn. And basically, this match comes down to who can get ahead in the prize trade, because for the most part, we're taking knockouts, but only taking 1 prize at a time. So whoever can take the first knockout will win this match. We do have an advantage against their Squawkabilly EX. If we can take a knockout there, we can get 2 prizes and get ahead that way. Even if my opponent takes a knockout here, we should be able to get ahead in the prize trade. So my opponent retreats their Flutter Mane, Ancient Booster Energy Capsule to add HP to their Roaring Moon, attaches an energy. Now it's fully energized, and they're going to attack with Vengeance Fletching, dealing 170 damage, enough to knock out our Flutter Mane. By discarding those cards though, our attack does increase. So we got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. I guess it's a question whether or not we can reach this 200, but I'm probably going to target their Squawkabilly EX. So with the Explorer's Guidance, we do get to discard a bunch of Ancient cards. So I can use Counter Catcher to target their Squawkabilly EX. Got another Nest Ball from the Pokestop, so I'm going to take advantage of Pheasantipity EX. Use Flip the Script to draw 3 extra cards. And we got Secret Box. Okay. Let me just energize my Roaring Moon first before I forget. So I have a chance to actually discard more cards, but do we really want to? Especially, we're only dealing with other Roaring Moon. Most of them are low HP, so we don't really need to build up our attack damage output that much. So let's increase our survivability as 60 HP, and we're dealing 220 damage already with all the cards that we've discarded so far. So by knocking out their Squawkabilly EX, we get 2 prizes, and now we're ahead in the prize trade here. We have 4 prizes left, while my opponent still needs to get 5 prizes. So going down this path, we should be able to win this matchup, but we do have to set up more Roaring Moon. It becomes a problem, especially I don't have any switching option in this build. No switch cards, no switches. So to retreat my other Pokemon, I'll have to attach an energy just to retreat them. So it could be a problem, especially if I need to energize another Roaring Moon. I'll have to do that. And my opponent's setup is going really well. He has 2 attackers lined up, and a third one on the way. And they have Counter Catcher. They're gonna target our Pheasantipity, and they deal enough damage to knock it out. Now they're ahead in the prize trade. And yeah, Pheasantipity is really awesome in this build, but it becomes a liability as well. So we actually prized 2 Roaring Moons. Thankfully, we have the Hussein Heavy Ball to grab one. And what I'm gonna do is just recover these 3. We are dealing enough damage already, even though my opponent has 200 HP. And we got Pheasantipity EX. Alright, cool. But I'm just gonna leave it in the bench until we actually need it, because my opponent could just target that and win this game. So I'll minimize that. But I'll probably have to plan this out differently, because now that my opponent is ahead in the prize trade, there is no way for us to get back on track. So I'll have to possibly win with Great Tusk here and just deck out my opponent. They have 11 cards left in their deck, and we'll see how it goes. Gonna go ahead and use Pal Pad and just recover these 2. We can still get a knockout here. Exactly 200. So Vengeance Fletching knocks out their Roaring Moon. We get 1 prize. But I think winning this game is not going to involve taking all of our prizes, but decking out our opponent. Because like I said, they've already won the prize trade here by getting ahead. So in terms of sequencing, once they knock out my Roaring Moon in the active, they have 2 prizes left, while we have 3. When we knock out theirs, we'll have 2, and so on and so forth. They'll finish taking all of their prizes before we do. So the only way I can win this, I think, is by just using Great Tusk to deck them out, because I'm not gonna win the prize trade here. So with 2 energies on my Great Tusk, I would like to use Explorer's Guidance, but I think my opponent will just knock out my Great Tusk. So I think what I'm gonna do is just, I'm thinking of just trapping one of their bench Pokemon, especially if they have limited amount of energies. So for now, I'm gonna use Secret Box, grab these 4 cards, increase our options here. But with 3 attackers on my opponent's board state, there's really no way for me to prevent my opponent from taking prizes, except if I can trap one of their other Pokemon in the active. Radiant Greninja, I think, is the best option. At least they cannot accelerate an energy to it with Professor Sada. I have no other way to gust it in the active except for boss orders. So since we did not use an ancient supporter card, we're only discarding 1 card from their top deck. So yeah, we are in a little bit of a mess here, guys. I'm gonna put my Roaring Moon in the active spot. We got a Professor Sada. We have Night Stretcher. I might have to use Boss's Orders, actually. And I have no other choice. I'll have to bring out everything I have here, because my opponent's just gonna win this turn unless I can prevent them. So with Night Stretcher, I'm gonna get Great Tusk. I'll have to energize... I mean, I could use Professor Sada to put 2 energies, and then I'm just gonna trap their Radiant Greninja. If they don't have any other way to retreat this, and if they've used up all of their energy, we could possibly just trap them in the active, and we're just gonna deck them out. So that's the plan. That's the plan anyways. They've discarded all their Dark Patches already. And I think discarding the Super Rod is actually very significant. They have 3 cards left. All we have to do is use Professor Sada's Vitality. It'll draw us 3 cards, but it's not going to deck us out just yet. And they did find Super Rod, another Super Rod, with Pokestop though. So that will give them a little bit more. However, once we use Professor Sada's Vitality next turn, that gives enough energy to Roaring Moon to retreat. And then once we retreat to Great Tusk, we can discard 4 cards from their deck. I mean, they have 5 cards left. They just pass. I mean, if they don't get the energy, if we can just discard the energy with Great Tusk, I think we got this. So I'm just gonna Professor Sada, I'm gonna retreat, and then we're gonna use Great Tusk to deck them out as much as we can. But they concede! Alright, I will take that win! Alright, cool. Good game. Alright, on to our next match. We're gonna start this one with a Roaring Moon in the active spot. My opponent won the coin flip, and they've decided to go second. They're also using Professor Sada's Vitality. So there is some type of ancient card in this matchup. And because of the mulligan, we get 1 extra card. We got a Nest Ball, very nice. And we're going against Raging Bolt EX. Alright. A winnable matchup, I think. So we got another Roaring Moon available to us with this Nest Ball. I'm gonna get Radiant Greninja for sure. We can start using its Concealed Cards ability to draw us 2 extra cards. And we got Pokestop. We got an Earthen Vessel. Okay. Let's go ahead and use it. Discard this energy. Get 2 more energy. And I can attach 1 to my benched Roaring Moon. Because most likely my opponent will just knock out my active. And I'm just going to set up another Roaring Moon. And that's why my opponent wanted to go second. Is because they can attack on their first turn going second. But yeah, we only have 6 energy cards in this build. It's enough to get us through the whole match. And against Raging Bolt EX, 240 HP. It's definitely an attainable damage output for our Roaring Moon. We just have to effectively get all those ancient cards in our discard pile. So we'll just have to be aggressive as much as we can. And I think it all comes down to the prize trade, right? We're getting 2 prizes each time we knock out their Pokemon, while they only take 1 each time they knock out our Roaring Moon. They're going to use Pokemon Catcher. They got Tails, and you know what, guys? Pokemon Catcher has been very, very used lately. You know, it's been in the game forever, and it's never rotated out. But lately, a lot of even top tier builds, they've been utilizing Pokemon Catcher. It has a 50% chance, but it does what it's supposed to do when you're successful, right? Gust up the target that you want from the bench, put it in the active spot so that you can take a key knockout. Very, very good card. But yeah, my opponent has set up their Squawkabilly EX. They Squawk and Seize to discard their entire hand, draw 6. Now they can use also their Teal Mask Ugrapon EX. Teal Mask allow it to accelerate grass energy from their hand to itself. Draw 1 card. So basically that's the whole strategy for Raging Bolt EX. Just draw a lot of cards, find a way to accelerate energies to their Pokemon, and when they attack with Raging Bolt, they discard those energies. But Bravery Charm is not gonna make it easy for us to knock out this Raging Bolt. 290 HP is a lot of HP to go through. So finally my opponent takes their first knockout on their first turn, going second. Sure enough, that's exactly what they do. We can attack this turn, but the question is, can we hit the 290 mark? I doubt it, but we're gonna do our best. So with Pokestop, we discard more Pokemon, got our Earthen Vessel, and with our Explorer's Guidance, we got more ancient cards in the discard pile, but still we're only hitting for 170. Alright, I'm gonna take this Professor Sada with this Pokegear. And I haven't used Radiant Greninja yet, so I think I'm gonna use Earthen Vessel, get my last energy. I'm gonna use Concealed Cards to draw 2. Alright. Got another Nest Ball though. I can use Fezandipity. Also, since my opponent knocked out one of our Pokemon, we can use Flip the Script to draw 3 extra cards. But nothing else to help us discard our cards, so we're only hitting for 180, but thankfully we have our Defiance Band to give us extra 30 damage. Although I think it's a little bit much. I probably should have just held off on that Defiance Band, but 210 is pretty decent. Puts it within knockout range for our next turn. I mean, I was anticipating to hit knockout this Raging Bolt EX to start anyways. Unless my opponent has Professor Turo's scenario, they can just remove Raging Bolt EX. But they're gonna use Professor Sada's Vitality instead to accelerate more energies to their Raging Bolt. Both their Raging Bolt EX. And with Earthen Vessel, probably gonna get Grass Energy so they can use their Ogre Pawn. But I don't think they require a lot of energies really to knock out our Roaring Moon. They only need to discard 2 energies each time. Unless we can use our Ancient Booster Energy Capsule to add HP as well. That means they'll have to discard 3 energies. So we're gonna use that against our opponent. Of course, they have to use up more energies to knock out our Raging Bolt. But most likely what we're just gonna do is knock out their multi-prize Pokemon to win this game. But they're gonna use Prime Catcher to target our Pheasantipity EX, and that will gain them 2 extra prize. Alright, that was a pretty good move. They got the Prime Catcher. But at this point in time, we have to be very precise now because although my opponent still has 3 prizes left, they have to knock out 3 of our Pokemon, and that gives us enough time to knock out 3 of their Pokemon and get 2 prizes each time. So we still have to increase our damage output. We got a Flutter Mane with the Hisuian Heavy Ball. And our Counter Catcher is prized, so we have access to boss orders though. Alright. Let's go ahead and use Earthen Vessel to discard Flutter Mane. We're just gonna do our best to increase our damage output here. We use Explorer's Guidance. Not a lot of ancient cards here, except for 2 Booster Energy Capsule. So I'll get Secret Box, and I think Superior Energy Retrieval to help us recover our energies if we need it. So now we're hitting at 260. Alright, cool. 260 is pretty good. So now we can one-hit knock out the Raging Bolt EX. We get 2 prizes. And we're on our way. We got Dark Patch. Okay, cool. So as long as we can keep our lineup of Roaring Moon, Professor Sada's Vitality to accelerate energies, we should be fine. However, Boss's Orders is probably needed so that we can knock out their other bench Pokemon. But thankfully, this Raging Bolt EX already has a lot of damage on it. We can easily knock it out. Again, the only thing we have to worry about is really accelerating energies to our Roaring Moon. Because obviously we cannot use Boss Orders and Professor Sada's Vitality in the same turn. So the question is, can my opponent accelerate energy to their Raging Bolt EX on their bench, retreat this active, and be able to attack with a fresh new one? Thankfully, we reserved that Superior Energy Retrieval. We can Professor Sada and then use Energy Retrieval to attach for turn and still be able to attack. Because my worry was to if I put Roaring Moon in the active, if they knock out our active, we can't use Dark Patch to accelerate energy. Because we need those Pokemon on the bench to accelerate energies to our bench Dark-type Pokemon. But yeah, they fully energized their Raging Bolt EX on the bench. I guess the question is, too, if they have enough Bravery Charm, but they're just gonna take a knockout. Okay, they left their Raging Bolt EX in the active spot. It's ripe for the picking, so we can use Professor Sada's Vitality, and we got the Counter Catcher. All right, cool. What I'm gonna do is recover 1 Roaring Moon, and this is all we need, basically, guys. This is all we need. Since we don't need to really gust up anything, we just have to use Professor Sada to accelerate energies. And then yeah, we're hitting for 240 already anyways, so I'll just add more HP, accelerate those energies, and then I'm gonna use Super Rod to recover 3 energies. I mean, I can use Earthen Vessel, and that also gives us a chance to discard one of our other ancient cards. So now our attack damage output should be extremely high at this point. And while we're behind on prices, I could just use Counter Catcher, I guess. Maybe target their Raging Bolt on the bench, because we're hitting for 260. But you know what? It's fine. We're just gonna knock out their active Pokemon, knock it out, get 2 prizes, and we're well on our way. We got our secondary attacker on our bench. And yeah, we have boss orders, we have Counter Catcher. All we have to do is pick out one of their other Pokemon on the bench, get our last 2 prizes to win this one. Because even if they attack this turn, they knock out one of our Roaring Moon, they'll only take 1 prize, they won't win the game, but we will win the game next turn. And there it is, my opponent sees no way out of this and concedes. Good game. Moving on now to our 3rd match. I won the coin flip and I am going second, which is awesome. That gives me the opportunity to be able to attack on my first turn, going second, and we're starting with the Flutter Mane in the active spot. Awesome opening hand, by the way. And we're going against Regidrago VSTAR, one of the best decks in the format, if not the best deck in the format. And Regidrago VSTAR could have won it all at Worlds in the Seniors Division, actually. However, you know, things happened. The player was demoted and promoted the Iron Thorns EX to take part in the finals instead of Regidrago VSTAR. Very unfortunate, but if you look at it on the technical side, that just goes to show how powerful Regidrago VSTAR is. Despite the awkwardness of its energy cost to attack, Teal Mask Ogerpon EX makes it so easy. And there's so many awesome dragon Pokemon in the format right now, such as Dragapult EX, just as you saw there. So now it's our turn. I'm going to set up my Roaring Moon first of all with this Nest Ball. And the plan is to discard as many ancient cards as we can. We're going to use Pokestop. And if we can fully energize our Roaring Moon, that would be awesome. I'm going to use Explorer's Guidance. Gate Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. And I could get Radiant Greninja with Nest Ball, but I think I'm going to go for Dark Patch. I'm just going to do my best. If I can retreat my Flutter Mane and also energize Roaring Moon, that would be awesome. But for now, I'm just going to use Secret Box. I can discard these 3. I can just get another support card and another tool card anyways. And I'm just discarding as much ancient cards as I can, like I said. So we got Professor Sada's Vitality. You can use Earthen Vessel to get 2 more basic energies. And let's see, I can use Ultra Ball, discard these 2. Get Radiant Greninja so we can use concealed cards. That's gonna allow us to draw 2. We got another Roaring Moon. Alright, cool. Unfortunately, we will not be able to retreat Flutter Mane. So I'm just gonna use Dark Patch for now. Attach an energy to Flutter Mane and go from there. Next turn, I can use Professor Sada's Vitality. And that's why you need to discard energies at the very beginning of the game so that you can use Professor Sada's Vitality. Because you can't use it unless you have basic energy in your discard pile. So if we can build up enough ancient cards, maybe we can even still knock out Regidrago, even if it evolves into a VSTAR. But Flutter Mane in the active is actually pretty good because its ability actually nullifies the ability of their active Pokemon. So they evolved into a Regidrago VSTAR. However, thanks to Flutter Mane, it's not going to be able to use its VSTAR power ability. And they might need those energy switch, of course, and find those energies. Well, they have Earthen Vessel. And Flutter Mane's ability only stops the active, so they can still use the abilities for their Ogerpon. However, they need at least 2 energy switch to transfer those energies. Oh no, yeah, I forgot. They still have energy attachment for turn, and they had the energy switch, and now Regidrago VSTAR is fully energized. And with so many selections in the discard pile, they can use Dragapult EX, and they had Kyurem also. Yeah, so with Kyurem, they're gonna discard all of their energies, but it will hit for 110 to 3 of our Pokemon. We don't have Manaphy in this build, so they're gonna attack with Dragapult EX, knocking out our Flutter Mane, dealing 200 damage to it, and spreading 30 damage to both our Roaring Moon. So very, we're in trouble here. I'm gonna use Professor Sada's Vitality, increase my attack with our Defiance Band, and I'm gonna play another Roaring Moon, because they could just wipe us out if they use Kyurem's attack. We're dealing 200 damage right now. I could use Counter Catcher, possibly just... Alright, we discarded one Roaring Moon, so that puts us in a good position to knock out one of their Ogerpon here. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, we need all those cards in the discard pile. Well, this Earthen Vessel will go in the discard, but at least we have basic energy that we can use for Radiant Greninja. And what I could do is just grab an energy, that way I can power up this other Roaring Moon. And I'm just gonna attack with Vengeance Fletching, knocking out their Ogerpon, getting us 2 prizes. So what's gonna win us this game, guys, is basically to just knock out... I mean, all of my opponent's Pokemon are 2 prizers. So if we can knock out 3 of them, we should be able to win this game to get all 6 of our prizes. At the same time, my opponent is just taking 1 prize at a time. However, they have an option to take multiple knockouts with Dragapult EX. Its attack to spread damage, and then they also have Kyurem's attack. So both this Roaring Moon is at the mercy of Kyurem's attack, and then that will get them 2 prizes, but it's not gonna knock out our Greninja or our other Roaring Moon, so we should still be fine. We just have to recover them back, if ever. And so my opponent has evolved into another Regidrago VSTAR. There's the Fire Energy, and they just need to attach 1 more Grass Energy to fully power up another Regidrago VSTAR. So yeah, man, it's such a powerful deck. Can you imagine if Regidrago VSTAR made it to finals? That would have been awesome. So there it is. My opponent uses Kyurem's attack, knocking out 2 of our Roaring Moon, also damaging our Radiant Greninja. But again, that discards all of their energies. What I could do actually is just try and increase my attack as much as I can. Pokestop. Alright, we're looking pretty good. We're at 230 right now. If we can get 50 more damage, let's see. Explorer's Guidance, 1, 2, 3. 2 more should do it. And yeah, we're almost there. We're almost there. What I'm trying to do basically is use Counter Catcher and prevent them from powering up another Regidrago VSTAR, so we can leave this one in the active and then just knock out the one on the bench. So I'm gonna recover our energies because we need that. So we're at 280. Alright, cool. We are at 280. But I need a backup attacker if I can. But this should afford us some time though. Yeah, I need all I needed all those cards in the discard pile. So I don't want to lose all of my cards in my deck, so I'm just gonna attack for 280, knocking out the Regidrago VSTAR. Alright, they got 3 energy switches in the discard pile. They only have 1 more available to them. So even if they use Ogerpon EX, I doubt they'll be able to power up their Regidrago VSTAR anytime soon to attack with it. If anything, at default, they can use Ogre Pawn EX and they can attack with it. However, all we need is one more prize and it should be easy for us to set up another Roaring Moon. And what I'm thinking of doing is actually, again, we don't have any switch in this build. If I attach an energy to, let's say, Radiant Greninja, I can just easily retreat it. I can use Dark Patch and also Professor Sada's Vitality. And I can recover that with Pal Pad and use Pokegear. However, my opponent will use Iono. They used up their energy switch to fully power up an Ogre Pawn. So, man, we got 2 Flutter Mains. Oh no, this is not good. I mean, you know what? Flip the Script can help us draw 3 extra cards. And I'm hoping we get the cards that we need. But my opponent still needs 2 more prizes. I don't think they can knock out my Pheasantipity with Ogre Pawn. Alright, we got Professor Sada. That's a good sign. Flip the Script got us Dark Patch and... let's see here. Let me go ahead and use Super Rod. Recover 2... just 1 Roaring Moon. I don't wanna... I wanna increase my chances, basically, to be able to draw here. Because once I use Professor Sada, I'm gonna draw 3. So we're gonna attach that. Alright, cool. We got the energy. There it is, guys. We're gonna concealed cards. Yeah. I mean, I think we have the firepower that we need here. And there it is. My opponent concedes. Good game. On to our final match. My opponent has won the coin flip. They've decided to go first. And we're going to start this one with a Flutter Mane in the active spot. And my opponent will start with the Radiant Greninja. Alright. Flutter Mane's ability actually stops its concealed card's ability, which is good. And they're using Roaring Moon EX. Alright, this could be the Turbo Moon as they call it. And this build actually made it all the way to the finals in the seniors division. So you can just, you know, it's a very, very powerful build as well. You can just instantly knock out anything if it faces off against Charizard EX, Regidrago VSTAR, it doesn't matter. Very, very strong build for sure. And it's been upgraded in the Shrouded Fable, especially with Petron EX and Pheasantipity EX. So they managed to put 2 energies on Roaring Moon EX. I don't know why they went first. Usually that build goes second. But anyways, we're gonna just try and see if we can discard as many ancient cards as we can. So with Explorer's Guidance, we're gonna keep Radiant Greninja and Super Rod. Discard the rest. And now we can use concealed cards. Discard an energy, draw 2. And let's go ahead and set up our Roaring Moon. Most likely Pokestop will stick, especially my opponent is also using that. And I think I'm just gonna use Dark Patch. There's really no way for me to attach to Flutter Mane and also attach another energy on Roaring Moon so that I can attack my turn. So I'm just gonna end my turn. And even if my opponent knocks out my Flutter Mane, we can use Counter Catcher to our advantage. And they're going to use Pokemon Catcher. And they succeed. And they target our Radiant Greninja. Okay. That's a pretty good choice. That eliminates our draw support. However, I would actually prefer that they pick that instead of our Roaring Moon. Because even if they knock out, we can still attack with Roaring Moon. It's a lot harder for me to set up another attacker than to keep Radiant Greninja. So now my opponent just attacks for 220, discarding the Stadium card. Can we build up enough firepower to knock out their Roaring Moon EX? We'll find out. But we got Pheasantipity from our top deck, so we might as well take advantage of its Flip the Script to draw 3. And we're only we're not dealing enough damage here. Let me energize my active, draw 3. And with Nest Ball, I'm gonna prep another Baby Moon on the bench. But there's no way for us to discard any more cards except for Earthen Vessel. So I'm gonna just target their Squawk ability. Can we discard 3 more cards to get 160? Oh, you know what? We have Defiance Band. Hello. Hello. Alright, since my opponent is ahead in the prize, we can increase our attack damage output, and that will give us a 180 damage output, knocking out their Squawk ability EX, getting us our first 2 prizes. So that's a good outcome for us. Thankfully, I preserved all the cards that I had in my hand, and Defiance Band helped us out to get a knockout. And moving forward, we'll be able to increase our attack even more, and that will be a lot easier for us to knock out their Roaring Moon EX. But yeah, that's gonna be our win condition, is just knock out their 2 prize Pokemon every turn. If we can knock out 3 of them, we will win this game. And that's where my opponent will fall. They're gonna try for another Pokemon catcher. They succeed again. And I mean, you know, it's obvious they're gonna target Pheasantipity, and they're gonna judge. No, we're gonna lose all our cards. Both players draw 4. I mean, Explorer's Guidance is good. I'll keep that. And because they targeted our Pheasantipity, again, that preserves our attackers on the bench. So they'll get 2 prizes here. But again, all we need to do is deal 2 knockouts to win this game. Alright, cool. And again, because they're ahead in the prize, our Defiance Band again is activated. So we just have to discard a bunch more ancient cards here. We got 1, 2... Alright, Superior Energy Retrieval can help us discard more. We're at 220. Actually, we're pretty good. Yeah. Let's go ahead and use Vengeance Fletching, knock out their Roaring Moon EX to get us 2 more prizes. Man, you know what? There's a reason, guys, why this Roaring Moon won the whole thing in the juniors division. It's just because it's really good. It's a really good deck. If anything, it's the best single prize deck in the format right now. You know, you have other options, yeah, but for this to be able to face off multiple different top tier meta decks, it just goes to show how strong Roaring Moon really is. Not Roaring Moon EX, just the regular Roaring Moon. And even against this Roaring Moon EX build, it just proves to be such an easy matchup if we can play it right, increase our damage output, and yeah. Roaring Moon is so good right now. If I had to take anything in the tournament, I'd probably just play this Roaring Moon. So my opponent actually opts to use their own baby Roaring Moon against us, and that puts it in a sense, they are only giving up one prize if we knock it out, but regardless, they'll have to take 2 prizes as well to win this game. So in terms of prize trade, we still win this one. So we got another Roaring Moon ready to go. Professor Sada energizes both of them, and we can even have a 3rd Roaring Moon set up if we need to, and we have the energies that we need. This is insane, man. This deck is so consistent, I gotta tell you. So I'm just gonna take a knockout here. Vengeance Fletching takes out their Baby Moon. We get 1 prize. It's taken us 1 more turn to win this game. However, we are pretty much... I think we pretty much sealed the deal here, because we have boss orders, and if we can discard any more ancient cards... I mean, if they knock out our Roaring Moon, again, that adds 10 more damage. They're gonna go for Judge, and we got an Earthen Vessel. Again, we have the energies that we need. It doesn't matter, man. Alright, they take a knockout against our Roaring Moon. but I think we have the firepower that we need to win this one. So we can use Earthen Vessel, discard one more ancient Pokemon, get the energies that we need, and then yeah, we're hitting 240. There it is, guys. 240 damage to knock out Roaring Moon EX, getting us our last prize to win the game. Good game. And that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching the Popsicleknight channel, and until next time, please stay safe and have a great day.